Salvation International Preparatory School. Salvation International Preparatory School. A place to be, a school to go. We'll build you up from the cradle to university. Salvation International Preparatory School. Salvation International Preparatory School. A place to be, a school to go. We'll build you up from the cradle to university.
Standing on all existing protocols, I am deeply honored to stand here today as the outgoing senior prefect of Salvation International Preparatory School. I welcome you to our long-awaited graduation ceremony and prize giving. We return all the glory to God Almighty, who sustained us through this 6-year journey. Today we stand proud, ready to conquer the world. Thank you to our special guests for honoring us with your presence today. To the school management, thank you for providing an enabling environment where we could thrive. Your uncompromising stance and discipline has molded us into responsible young adults. To our ever hardworking teachers, you are the real champions. Thank you for staying late, putting us through tough questions, and for teaching us character alongside academics. To our wonderful parents, thank you for your immense sacrifices and for paying school fees despite this harsh economic situation in our nation. We promise to make your investment yield beautiful fruits. To my fellow class of 2026 graduates, we finally made it. Goodbye to the version of bells and attention of test papers. I'll deeply miss our long-time banter and classroom groups. We came, we saw, and we conquered. To our juniors, especially the incoming SS3 class and the new prefects, the mantle of leadership now rests on your shoulders. Leadership is about exemplary and mentorship, not oppression. Protect the legacy of Salvation International Preparatory Schools. Listen to your teachers, obey the rules, and avoid procrastination. The high standard we set are not your ceiling, they are your stepping stone. It is my expectation that you fly higher than us. As we leave the familiar gates, we know the world outside faces complex challenges. However, this great school has molded us into capable problem solvers. Let us go out and fly the school flag with pride. Let us choose integrity over shortcuts and hard work over complexity. God bless our parents. God bless our providers. God bless our teachers. God bless all the staff. God bless Salvation International Preparatory School. And God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
An adage says, the child that the village cannot train will burn down the whole village one day. And I'm here to oppose the motion which says that the government is to be blamed for the insecurity in Nigeria today. Government has goals and budgets, but it is the civil society who trains that criminal that pulls the trigger. Blaming the government alone is like mopping the floor with a leaky roof or treating fever and ignoring the infection. I strongly believe that the civil society is to be blamed for the insecurity in Nigeria today. This is because the civil society is the foundation of every nation, and when that foundation is broken, the nation crumbles at last. My opponents may argue that government's corruption and embezzlement of security budgets may be the cause of insecurity today. But I put it to you that that is not the reason. The government is the reflection of us. So if the government is corrupt, the civil society itself is corrupt. These politicians, do they from the sky? No, they come from us, the civil society. They originated from a community. They have a family. My first point for today is bad home produces bad behavior. The family is the first police station each child passes through. But when parents fail to instill core values like discipline, honesty, and the fear of God, the child grows up with no conscience. A notable example of this is Gracious David West, a serial killer who killed women in hotel rooms across Port Harcourt, but was sentenced to death by hanging in October 2020. Rumors have it that his stepmother was the cause for his atrocity by casting a spell on him. But an undeniable fact is that he was a product of a broken home with no morality. His journey into crime, did it start in a government office? No. Can government teach parents their duty? Of course, a broken home to teach morality. The answer is still no. Billy Graham says, and I quote, The home is the cradle of crime or behavior. So if the home has no discipline, that child is meant to become wayward. My second point of today is influence of criminal association from the neighborhood. The neighborhood is the area where one lives, but if the neighborhood is corrupted, the people who live in it tends to be polluted. A notable example of this is Lawrence Anini in our hometown. He was one of Nigeria's most notorious armed robbers who killed at will and has the record of killing 9 policemen. He was a 26-year-old man who had the dream of becoming a driver here in Benin City, but later channeled the skills into criminal activities. This is not as a result of government policy, is it? It is as a result of influence of criminal association. I'm sure that if Lawrence Anini didn't associate himself with criminals, he would have become who he is. He would have become a driver with a peaceful life. Thirdly, bad companies in schools. Today, schools isn't just a place where people learn. It is a tool where people join bad company, cultism, and the get-rich mentality gang. Most schools today focus on passing WAEC and this through examination malpractice. How can we say that this doesn't fuel insecurity in Nigeria? It drops the standard of the nation. Thirdly, misuse of religion in the hands of the society. Religion is a belief, and everybody has the right to have religion. But when it is being misused, it becomes a dangerous weapon in the society. A notable example of this is the mother of Deborah Samuel, a 200-level student in Sokoto State. She was beaten and burned to death over an alleged religious WhatsApp message in May 2020. Thank you.
Government holds the ultimate monopoly on power, resources, and systemic control, making them fully responsible for the failures of a nation. A society is a collection of citizens that pay tax, obey laws, and trust the state to protect them. French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau argued that citizens gave up most of their rights to the government in exchange for security, order, and justice. So if the system breaks down, it's not the fault of the powerless citizens, but a direct failure on the part of the government institution for breaking a civil contract. Good power of journalists, my operator and people, and my co-debaters and my fellow students. My name is Chika Chamaka, and I'm here to support the motion that says government and government alone is responsible for the security and insecurity in Nigeria. Let's talk truth power. Nigeria does not have a shortage of security personnel. We have a severe shortage of political will. What gun entries in Nigeria today and who you see police protecting? You see active duty police officers escorting politicians, carrying shopping bags to airlines, and clearing the road for wealthy individuals, leaving the community entirely defenseless against bandits and terrorists. My opponent might say that the state is trying its best, but let's look at the history. The landmark exposed the fact that over 100,000 police officers, nearly 1/3 of our entire police force, were stricken over the community safety and rented out to black politicians and allies. This crisis became so shameful that the presidency had to issue an emergency executive order to withdraw police officers from their VIPs, admitting to the whole world that public safety was completely privatized. Society is left unprotected because the government has weaponized the protection for the public safety, for the political comfort. Let's hold the money. Every single month, government pocket billions of naira in what they call security votes. This is unaudited, untraceable cash meant to keep us safe. The government is not failing to fund security, actually budgeting for their own luxury. Look no further than landmark June 2026 Federal High Court ruling that declared the National Assembly 110 billion naira expenditure on luxury bulletproof SUVs. This massive sum was a betrayal to public trust. That 110 billion naira, based on political comfort, would have bought of the air weapons, fuel local patrol vehicles, and protected our citizens. But instead, the defendants are left to do their done. My opponent might say that the society is to blame for the crisis in Nigeria, but let's look at the hard evidence. Concerning the 2002 Lagos bomb blast, the military stockpiled high-caliber explosives in a prominent residential area. Experts warned the military, saying that this facility was unsafe, but it chose to ignore these warnings, and when the explosive detonated, over 1,100 citizens paid with their lives. Was this society's fault? No, let's not stop there. Also consider the 2022 Project Prison Break. This has sent documented warnings to the Benin authorities, saying that that an attack was imminent, but it chose to ignore these warnings. And terrorists simply walked in at night with detonated explosives and freed up nearly 880 inmates. Was it society's fault? No, the issue was never that the government didn't know. They knew what was coming, but were too incompetent to act. My opinion will surely and obviously bring up the matter of the recent Oyo adoption incident. Although they were released, but many students paid with their lives. 3 tutors were killed, one shot to them, one beheaded, and the other killed with the fact that it's a constitutional duty of the government to rescue captives and secure schools. Yes, expecting on our parents, teachers, and students to defend themselves against heavy armoury is a pathetic evasion of government responsibility. The government has failed to provide jobs, failed to secure our borders, and failed to secure its own people. The society is not the criminal here. The society is the victim, the casualty, and the target of the system that completely broken its promise. And with these 3 points of mine, I hope I'm able to convince you with undeniable facts and not to confuse you with political excuses. So within your conscience and not to brainwash your minds that government alone is responsible for the insecurity in Nigeria. Thank you.
As a parent, I have always asked, how can I prepare my children for the infrastructural development and socio-economic evolution of the next decade? With the ongoing speed of globalization, how can I position my children to perform excellently in a rapidly changing society? The answer is and has always been to give them a solid foundation, academically, spiritually, and morally. Salvation International Preparatory Schools, with her team of highly qualified tutors, conducive environment for learning, state-of-the-art computer and science laboratories coupled with quality day and boarding facilities, is the place to be.
Admission is currently going on into all the classes. Register your children and watch today.
For more information, contact 080-233-76135. SIPS remains the birthplace of leaders.
First and foremost, society is one of the main agents of socialization, responsible for bringing up the upcoming generation. When they fail, a corrupt generation will be the betting of a failed society. It's simple. Failed society, failed product. Failed product, failed generation that is corrupt, immoral, and condemned. Technically, the current example that we can see in our everyday life are the cultism, the parental failure, the quick success syndrome, the examination malpractice. Kidnapping becomes the latter part of it, while terrorism and banditry become the case linked to an insecure Nigeria. From the Unimed hospital to other cases, striking fear and anxiety in the hearts of people. Secondly, notable terrorists and bandits all came from a particular society. But due to one societal vice or the other, they turn into terrorists. Society is a pillar to problem. I will take Osama bin Laden as my answer. Osama bin Laden grew up in a rich family, but is known today as the founder and the leader of a dreaded terrorist group known as the Al-Qaeda, responsible for the September 11, 2001 killing of over 2,000 people, and he died in 2011. He set his footprint as the sound of crime, as a dreaded terrorist and as an insecurity agent. Neither unemployment nor poverty, neither lack of government or failure of government was the cause of the fate of Osama bin Laden. Furthermore, influence. For one to overcome influence, one have to have good, strong social and moral values instilled by the society. A product of influence is Abu Bakr Shekau. Abu Bakr Shekau is the leader of Boko Haram, responsible for the most popular Chibok girls school kidnapping. He's also the one responsible for 2005 Niger Delta air raid. However, his father was an imam and his mother noted that she religiously raised him up. But due to influence from the founder of Boko Haram, who is Mohammed Yusuf, he turned into a terrorist. In conclusion, society can only produce while government can reform. Society is to play for security. Thank you.
And I'm here to support the motion that says that the government is to blame for the insecurity in Nigeria. Firstly, lack of job opportunities and unemployment is known to almost all Nigerian youth. Whether a child graduates from university with a start and is unable to get a job, this is not the fault of the society, but the fault of the government, as the government has failed to provide stable income and stable jobs for all Nigerian citizens, which led them to go into criminal activities. The government has created a system whereby the rich get richer and the poor gets poorer. Second, the embezzlement of funds. Our politicians and other government officials embezzle millions and trillions of naira in so-called development of our security architecture, which leaves our borders are still underdeveloped and left defenseless. This shows that all this money that Nigeria, our so-called politicians, are putting into development is being embezzled by them, and this shows that we have a failed system of government. Then, thirdly, there is a decline in our economic standard. A decline in economic standard leads to a decline in national values and our national currency. This has led to the neglect of other jobs and notable works which are not office works like barbering, farming. So this has led youth and Nigeria easy to manipulate and ready for recruitment by terrorist organizations due to lack of job and employment. Then, furthermore, there is a criminals aren't born out of societal failure, but from the failure of the government to step in when they were supposed to step in. So this shows that we have a failed system of government.
Salvation International Preparatory School. Salvation International Preparatory School.